You're standing on your back step, coffee warm in your hand, just watching a single bird perched on the fence line. It looks tiny, completely unbothered, like a little decoration the morning threw in for free. And you think you're the one doing the watching. But you're not. The exact second your screen door clicked open, something registered that sound. It cross-referenced it against 100 mornings just like it and quietly filed you under known. See, that bird isn't resting on your fence by accident. It is positioned there, the angle, the height, the sight line, the exact way a guard stands at a checkpoint. You didn't just wander into a peaceful garden, you walked right into a surveillance grid that's been calibrating itself around you since long before today. And honestly, the strangest part is how completely ordinary it looks from where you're standing. No alarm, no visible reaction, just a bird sitting still, doing what birds do. But that stillness, that's the illusion. Underneath it, a decision has already been made about you, built from data you never even knew you were handing over. Here's what's actually happening. Wild birds don't experience your yard as just some random patch of nature. They experience it as a schedule. Your garage door has its own sound signature, and it plays at roughly the same time most mornings. Your footsteps on the deck carry a particular weight, a particular rhythm. Maybe you've noticed this too. Even the exact minute you crack open the blinds becomes a data point. It gets logged and repeated until your ordinary routine turns into a predictable clock the local birds set their entire day around. Think about that for a second. You've been unconsciously training the wildlife around your home the same way a routine trains a pet, except you never signed up for the lesson and you never noticed it was happening. Every single repeated action becomes a landmark in their day. The rattle of your recycling bin, the particular hour your porch light clicks off. None of it means anything to you, but it means absolutely everything to them. If you change that routine even slightly, leave later, skip a day, come home at an unfamiliar hour, you'll see the effect immediately. There's a bit of extra caution, a longer pause before anyone lands near you again. But this is the part people miss. It's not generic. They're not just tracking a human. And this is where it gets interesting. Birds build something much closer to a profile. Studies on urban corvids and songbirds have shown they can actually distinguish individual humans by face, by gait, even by the specific color of a jacket you wore on a previous encounter. Your neighbor doesn't get the same reaction you do. Your mail carrier doesn't either. You have been quietly sorted into a category safe, neutral, or risk-based on dozens of small encounters you don't even remember having. That means the bird on your fence isn't just reacting to a person outside. It's reacting to you specifically, your silhouette, your walk, the particular way you slow down near the flower bed. Somewhere in a brain smaller than your thumb, a file exists with your pattern in it. No actual name, obviously, just a pattern. But here's the thing. Pattern is more than enough. And this recognition doesn't just fade away quickly. Crows, in particular, have been documented remembering individual human faces for years. They actually pass that memory down to their kids, teaching entire family lines exactly who to trust and who to avoid. It carries on long after you've completely forgotten the original encounter that earned you that label in the first place. It's forgotten by you, but never by them. Researchers actually tested this by wearing specific masks around wild crow populations. Years later, the birds were still scolding and avoiding those exact masks, even when a completely different person was wearing them. It's wild because it proves the recognition isn't about your scent or your voice. It's something much closer to visual memory, stored and just reinforced over time. But now flip this around, because identity is really only the first layer. The second layer is mood, and honestly, this is where it gets a little uncomfortable. A bird can tell almost instantly whether you're calm or rushed, relaxed, or totally irritated. And they do it simply by reading your micro-movements, the stiffness in your shoulders, the pace of your stride, whether your steps are smooth or sort of clipped. Behavioral ecologists call this flight initiation distance. It's basically the exact moment a bird decides you cross the line from harmless to threatening, and that distance shrinks or grows depending entirely on the energy you're radiating without you ever saying a single word. So on the days you're distracted, phone in hand, moving way too fast, the birds notice before you do. They pull back sooner. They go quiet sooner. Your own tension basically becomes public information, broadcast across your backyard in real time, read by an audience you never even knew was paying attention. It works the other way too, though. On the mornings, you move slowly, deliberately, without any real urgency. That same flight distance shrinks. Birds stay closer, they linger longer. Sometimes they barely react at all. You're not imagining things when some days just feel calmer in your yard than others. The birds are simply mirroring exactly what you brought outside with you. But here's the part people miss: the surveillance doesn't actually start with the birds at all. Long before a single wing lifts off a branch, your yard has already reacted to you. Insects shift their movement patterns. Earthworms retreat deeper into the dirt just from the vibration of your footsteps. These minor sentinel species, the tiny, forgettable ones, they react first. And birds have learned to read those reactions like a weather report. A change in insect activity, a shift in the ground's subtle rhythms. It becomes this early warning system stitched together out of creatures you'd never think to notice. It feeds information upward until it reaches the bird deciding whether to stay on that branch or just vanish. Which means by the time you actually see a bird reacting to you, 3 or 4 layers of quiet biological reporting have already taken place right beneath your feet. It kind of feels like the soil itself has an opinion about you, and it formed that opinion before you'd even reach the middle of your own lawn. Maybe you've noticed this too, but none of this happens in isolation. Every fence, shrub, and open stretch of lawn in your yard has been mapped out, not decoratively, but mathematically. Birds trace how the wind moves against your fence line. They measure the exact cover density of your shrubs, and they calculate flight vectors, which are basically precise escape routes from nearly every single point they might land on. Your backyard, to you, is just landscaping, but to them, it's a live tactical map, recalculated constantly, with every hedge and gap assigned a value based on how quickly it can save a life. That ornamental bush you planted just because you liked the flowers? To a chickadee, that's cover density and an escape angle. That open stretch of lawn you keep perfectly mowed and tidy, to them, it's pure exposure. It's a calculated risk they only cross quickly when they absolutely have to. Even the direction your fence faces changes the math, because a bird launching into a headwind needs a lot less runway than one taking off with the wind at its back. None of this is guesswork. It's geometry, solved instantly every single time a wing lifts off a branch. But here's the part nobody tells you, and honestly, it's the deepest layer of all. The truest measure of whether your yard has been accepted, like really accepted, isn't the fancy feeder you bought or the bird bath you keep filled. It's something much quieter, slower, almost invisible. It's the decision made across seasons and sometimes even across generations of the exact same bird family to actually build a nest close to your home. That decision only happens once you've passed an unconscious screening process. And that process is built from every single encounter, every mood you radiated, and every safe, uneventful morning you never knew you were being tested by. A nest right near your window isn't just decoration, it's a verdict. It means that somewhere in that layered network of pattern recognition, mood reading, and multi-species early warnings, you were quietly, repeatedly judged safe enough to raise a life beside. Out of every single yard on your street, every fence line, porch light, and open lawn, yours was the one they selected. Not by chance either, but by evidence. Evidence gathered one ordinary morning at a time. And once you understand that, the whole relationship flips. You weren't just feeding birds or admiring them from a window. You were being evaluated morning after morning by a set of eyes far more perceptive than you ever gave them credit for, and somehow, without even trying, without even knowing the test was happening, you passed. That's the part that's really worth sitting with. This wasn't a performance you gave once. It was a relationship built quietly, completely in the background of an ordinary life, through nothing more dramatic than just showing up the same way, day after day, and letting a small, watchful world decide you were worth trusting. So the next time you step outside, coffee in hand, watch the bird that doesn't fly away. Watch the one that stays completely still, holding its ground instead of scattering. That stillness isn't carelessness. It's trust, earned in a language you never knew you were speaking. Have you ever noticed one particular bird in your yard that seems to recognize you every single day?